people might not know, but Litecoin might not have gone to the point where we have higher transaction numbers than Bitcoin, but we've gone to the point where we have actually surpassed Bitcoin when it comes to monetization. And it's very easy to create noise and fill block spaces and whatnot, but what you cannot fake is median transaction. And median transaction is what really matters for you to know whether or not something is being used. Median transaction tells you what actually happens, who is actually using it, how much are they spending. And you can see this chart, right? You can look at it, and that's how you're going to know Litecoin is being monetized more than Bitcoin, right? What is the average transaction that's actually transacted on Bitcoin? So the average amount transacted on Bitcoin, $88,109 per transaction. So how are you going to know this is you can calculate the total value transacted and divide that by the number of transactions, and the value you're going to get is 88,000. And for Litecoin, that average about 12,297. And this is very important. We're going to talk about the distinction between these metrics. Now, this is the median transaction, and what the median does is it essentially finds the middle transaction. So what are the ones that are most frequently, what are the amount that are most frequently transacted, right? So the middle, you kind of like distribute all the data sets, and then you kind of like find the middle transactions, and that kind of gives you a more accurate perception of the actual amount that are being transacted on chain. And that's how you can use it as a more useful metric for figuring out what is being used and what is not really being used. Because again, the average can easily be skewed. Let's put it like this. Let's picture this, right? Bring a set of 100 people, and amongst that 100 people, about 60 of them make $100,000 a year. 20 of them make about $50,000 a year, and about 10 of them make $10 million a year. Now, what you're going to end up seeing is that if you do the average transaction, because you have those 10 people that are making $10 million a year, that's like $100 million, right? And you can kind of like, when you do an average of that, the average transaction is going to be, the average, income is going to be showing something closer to 180 something thousand a year. And so that's going to give you the impression that most people are making 180 something thousand a year. But when you distribute the data set and you see that the amount in the middle is 100,000 a year, then that gives you a clear representation of what most people are actually earning in that data set. And that's why median is a much better representation of what's actually happening than average, because a few high value transactions, a few high value data sets can essentially skew the average and distort the entire data set. And so you don't really get a very useful value when you're calculating the average, but you get something much more useful when you're looking at the median. And that is why the median is being used. Once you go check what is your expected salary for any given profession, what you get shown by the Bureau of Statistics, you get shown the median value, because that is actually more accurate than the average, for the reasons I've just explained. And when you look at the fact that Litecoin has about $152 in median transaction compared to Bitcoin's $38 in median transaction as of the time when this data was actually captured, you can easily see that Litecoin is actually being monetized more by actual people that are using it for actual transactions than Bitcoin, whilst the majority of Bitcoin's actual transactions are just back and forth transactions that are happening between multi-billion-dollar whale wallets. And that's the reality of it.